Hey y'all, welcome to What's Up Next. I'm Demetrius.
And I'm Justine.
You are now tuned into our podcast where we take a deep dive into some interesting topics and everyday situations that we face as a young millennial couple.
For those of you who don't know us, What's Up Next is a play on my soon-to-be last name, but it's for sure a common phrase in our household. Anyway, let's stop talking and let's get into this week's episode.
Let's get it. Welcome back. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's living good.
I'm gonna get an audio thing there. Good.
Yeah, we do need, hey, who's trying to do some edits for us?
Right.
Cue the applause.
Thank you.
But today we are taking, I'm starting something new. This is the grade chair talk, excuse me. Not the red.
Shout out to Wayfair.
Yeah, no red table, but grade chair talk.
Get off Will and Jada's back.
I'm just playing. But we are going to take a deep dive into some things that we feel we constantly deal with.
Yeah.
Interpersonal.
Yeah. You guys signed up for a transparent podcast. You signed up for us to be honest, open and honest with you. So
highs and lows, good and bad.
Yeah.
And all the above. So today I asked you. Well, first I want to mention we are going to dive into insecurities within spirituality in the form of prayer.
Right.
And I'm sure you've seen this coming. And so that's why I wanted you to kind of tell the people about how you feel in regards to prayer and just what are some battles that you deal with.
Yeah. Watts knows this more than anybody, I think, and he's been the one that's probably listened to me vocalize this the most. But I've had a lot of moments where I feel insecure praying out loud. Not like praying by myself, praying in the shower, praying in the car, whatever, breaking down and crying and feeling like I need to pray. That I can do when it comes to like our relationship and praying before a meal or times where we feel as though things are rough and we just stop and say, let's pray about it. Like those are not times where I step up to the plate, I feel like, and say, I'll lead in prayer, which I feel like in a relationship, it should be equal, where you feel as though your partner can pray for you. And sometimes I feel like I'm not even gonna say sometimes. I feel like as far as we've been dating, been together the last 5 years, I've never been able to stop and say, hey, Watts, let's pray about it.
With confidence.
Yeah, with confidence at least. So, that's where the insecurity topic kind of comes from and where it comes from my heart and my spirituality. So.
Yeah, I definitely, obviously, have experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that you're saying, it's something that should be done or split evenly between the two parties. I know we also have mentioned that, if you can do it, do it.
Right.
And if you don't know how to do it,
don't do it.
Let the other person do it.
Right.
And, that applies to many different other things. But in this situation, although I kind of have encouraged you to try.
I think there's also a certain point, too, sorry not to cut you off, but a certain point where you have to challenge your partner, you cannot do certain things just because you don't know how, but I know how to do it. I just don't feel comfortable doing it,
So then where does that stem from?
Okay, so where it stems from and the backstory and context to it is when I was 7, maybe 8 or so, maybe even younger than that, my mom took me to a Catholic church. And it was a lot of, if anybody knows Catholic Church, Catholicism, a lot of it is scripted. It's very every sermon, I'm not gonna say every sermon sounds the same, but same song, same dance, same this, and it just sounds
traditional.
Very traditional.
They have traditions.
And I'm just so everybody knows, as I'm talking about this, I'm not knocking any
denomination,
religious beliefs or anything like that, but just giving you my pure experience. So 7 to probably 10, I was going to Catholic church. And then when my grandfather passed, my dad went to a Baptist church. And he was kind of just, after my grandfather passed, he was trying to find his spirituality again. And once he went, like once or twice, he had told my mom, like, yeah, we should try this Baptist church that I went to. So the following week, we wind up going. So this is like in maybe a month or 2 month span, like I switched religions, you know? And when that happened, I remember vividly like standing in a Baptist church and being like, okay, this is different because like the words to the songs are on the screen and I can like follow along. But then when they're talking about prayer, like I'm thinking about like a scripted prayer, but they're just going straight from like how you feel inside, you know? And for me, that was different. I didn't know that was possible. And my dad was like, oh, you know, you should feel it and you should feel it in your soul and this and then I'm like, I don't know how to do that yet. Like, and especially at like a pinnacle time in your life when you're learning a lot of things, you're hitting an age of like 10, 11 and you're like, this is like a 180, you know? Yeah. So that's where the insecurity comes from because from 10 to 18, I was in Baptist, but young years I was in Catholic church and that was a switch for me and I wasn't taught how to pray in between that. I just had to like learn it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that leads
I know that sounds confusing, but...
No, I mean, I hear it and I know it and I'm kind of like, okay. Yeah. Like, that is quite the challenge for someone who's going through some very pivotal years within adolescence. As you said, you weren't really taught how to pray. Where do you believe that education should have come from? Is that...
I feel like it should have came from my parents, especially my dad, the one who was saying like, I guess the one who encouraged us to even go to a Baptist church. It should have came from a place of like, hey, I know this is a change for you, and like, this is what's done here, but you don't have to do this here, and you should feel a little bit more comfortable and things like that. And I've done things to try and make myself feel more comfortable or more spiritually connected. Like I did Bible study junior year and senior year of high school, thinking that was going to help me find like my place. When I was a freshman, I had like thoughts of like, I think I want to get baptized. And that was like really quick. So I was
freshman of college?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then that also like, I mean, when you go to college too, like you're not going to the same churches anymore. So now you're losing that. And it was just like, I felt like I was in rotation constantly. Like I had it and then I didn't have it. So all of that, I wasn't really able to like settle into something and feel like, okay, I know how to do this.
I feel that 100%.
Yeah. And
a different form for me was just going to college and going away from all that you know in regards to church. And for me, attending a predominantly black church my entire life, and then going to the state of Oregon where
institution,
I don't even know if there's any black churches around.
Right.
And so I'm going to these other churches, predominantly white churches,
thinking I'm gonna find my spiritual food
and trying to get fed, but I'm
not getting it.
It's not meeting it.
Yeah,
it's not meeting it at all.
Maybe you went with me, but we had gone to a church in Corvallis, and I was like really standing there, like this doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and then the guilt kicks in of like,
but then I'm not spiritually in tune.
I'm not a churchgoer, so man, I'm out of whack, and then for me, I'll speak for myself. My spirituality took a hit where I wasn't standing as firm in my morals and beliefs within God, and questioning a lot of things, and just walking on my own.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to say I did okay or I didn't do okay, but all in all, I didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't feel like I was at my very best.
Yeah. I mean, as I'm thinking about it, as we're talking about this, I'm 24 now. For the last 14 years, I've been battling it. You know what I'm saying? So flipping at 10 and from one to the next, and then going from being an 18-year-old, going from thinking that Bible study and everything, wanting to get baptized, and then not having the same feelings because I went to college. And then on top of that, then as soon as college is over, you move to Dallas. So it's like now you got a whole nother realm of Christianity that you're looking at, you know? And you and I have really battled and had conversations about like church, we really got to find one that we really like and we feel like they are fulfilling us and things of that sort. But I think it is a process, and that's fine. It's just that process seems like it's taking really long.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have to know the answer before I bring a life into this world.
Ooh, that's crazy that you mentioned that point, because I was going to spin a statement that you put on me in one of our earlier episodes. I think it was episode 1. It was like, whose timeline are you on? Yours or God's? But you said, dang, I gotta have this in order before I bring another life into this equation. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I think you definitely feel that, correct me if I'm wrong, is because, I had this uncertainty and this...
and I don't want my child to feel that uncertainty.
To have that confusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that completely.
Yeah. I want them to be spiritually connected. I want them to understand, like, hey, there is a higher power, but I don't want them to be me at the dinner table, like, hey, it's my time to pray, and I'm sweating through my shirt. You know?
Yeah.
And I've had conversations about this with my parents, too. Like, when I came back from college, like, summer breaks and things like that, it was kind of like we went to church when we went, and we just didn't go when we didn't go. Like, my dad worked nights and came home at 7, so it was like, church started at 8:15, he had to get dressed, let's go, and if we missed it, well, then we missed it. Like, it wasn't like a ritual type of thing, and I would really get upset with my mom sometimes and be like, so if you're gonna go, then go consistently, but if you're not gonna go, then stop forcing me to, like, pack church clothes when I come home to think that I'm going, and I'm not going. You know, and that's where I was like, this is not helping me, my situation.
Yeah. That's crazy. When I came home, I for sure made it my duty
to go to church.
To go to church, and not only just church, but my home church.
Yeah.
The place I felt most comfortable within my spirituality.
Yeah.
Where I have family, friends, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just a community of people that have known me since birth.
And truthfully, like, you gain, I won't say grow, but you gain a very, you gain a village when you are raised in a church, you know? And I feel like I missed out on a lot of that, because it was like, even when I was at church, like, my dad would, like, hey, what's up, this person and this person. Weeks can go by and I could go to church every Sunday for a month and I still wouldn't know his name.
Just no structure, just no foundation.
I just feel like I didn't have the structure that I wanted or that I needed in order to feel secure about prayer. And that's how it plays out, is when I need to pray, I'm like, obviously I know who I'm praying to, but when I'm saying it,
you just can't say it aloud.
I just can't say it out loud. And I don't know if I fear that because I fear your judgment of how I pray. I don't think that's really
You know how I pray.
I know, but okay, so one thing that we talked about is...
I'm goofy.
He is very goofy. One thing that we talked about was when you pray, some people will tell you certain things that you should say, like, God forgive me for all sins, seen and unseen, right? I can put that in my prayer, but am I doing it because I'm told to do it, or am I doing it because I feel it? You know what I'm saying? And that's where I struggled. Like, okay, I always wanted somebody to feed me the script, say the script, because that's what I learned when I was in adolescence. And now that I don't have that, now I feel like I should just be able to just go off the whim and come up with something. And
it was different for me.
Yeah.
I was just heard things and took things that I liked. Or took things that aligned with me. Like you said, I say, because I heard my grandmother Nani say it was, she always made sure, like, yo, you ask God for forgiveness for your known and unknown sins.
Right.
And I was like, all right, bet, I'm going to do that, because I don't want, I know the things I did wrong, but I don't want him to come at me for the things I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a little kid, that's what I was thinking. And so it's always in my prayer, and it's just repetition. But it's one of the first things that I say. I'm sure you catch it now when I pray or pray over meals. And even if it's about meals, there's a certain phrase that I say. And then from there, you kind of just go off what you're feeling. We've prayed in times of, job security during COVID. We've prayed over some of our biggest blessings. We prayed over the health of our family during crucial times.
Yeah. I mean, we've even, like, I think maybe it was last week, but I was saying, it was probably like 2 a.m. or something. I just couldn't sleep, whatever. And, like, I caught myself just starting to pray. Watts is asleep at this point, but I'm, like, leaning on his, like, shoulder. And I'm just praying. But to me, it sounds like I'm just talking. And which is what they say it is supposed to be. It's supposed to just be a conversation between you and God.
Mm-hmm. That's how I
Obviously,
go.
nobody's talking back to me, but he'll tell me eventually how he feels, or she feels. We won't get into that. But I can do that when I feel spiritually moved to do it.
Yeah.
But when I'm forced to do it, that's when I feel unnatural. I feel like it's unauthentic of me to do that.
Precisely. That was one of my 2020 goals, is pray genuinely.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who have, they have practices. Like, when I wake up, I'm getting on my knees and I'm praying. And that's commendable. And I respect people who make that commitment. For me, it's kind of like, it could be in the car. It could be during my shower. It could be during my workout. It could be driving home at the end of the day. If God crosses my mind, I'll make sure to, acknowledge and give my thanks.
Yeah.
And
God loves talking to me when I'm driving by myself. He really does.
Hey, not when you're in tune, but when he's there, he's always there, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? I could be listening to any type of music that has nothing to do with God. But if it crosses my mind, I'm praying on sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just
me. Had a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Like, he comes home the other day and was like, I think I was looking like a crazy person because I was talking to God and walking.
For an hour.
For an hour down the road. And I'm like, I can only imagine what you looked like doing that, but I'm glad that you had the time and you felt moved to do it, And I
felt my best in that group of days where I was going through that kind of confusion.
Yeah.
I felt my best after it, straight like that.
Yeah.
And that's really all that matters, you know what I'm saying? So, not to push any type of denomination or what religion you should do, but I know now, right now, in my current state, and how I've been for a while, is just have some type of connection with something.
Yes.
The source, that's what I would call it.
Yes.
Have a connection with the source. And if you do that, you'll be all right.
Right.
And that's the biggest component, just have that relationship and continue to develop it. And when you get off track like myself, you know how to realign and get back. But you said, like you said, it's a process.
It is a process. And it's, if you're battling that with your partner, I think it's also important to have some grace. Like, you've been very gentle about the subject. Like, you've never been like, nope, you gonna pray. We're not touching this food until you pray. Because I felt like that's how my dad was sometimes with me. When, like, we would pray at the table, and he's like, well, if you're not gonna pray. And I saw him sometimes do that with my mom, too. And maybe that's also why it stems. But not feeling comfortable to pray or feeling like you're in a safe space to pray will put you back 10 steps. But if you're in a relationship where your spouse or whoever prays very well and maybe you don't, or vice versa, make sure that you're having some grace with that person,
I respect that, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So I appreciate you for giving me your patience.
Oh, most definitely.
And honoring that.
Most definitely.
But we're getting better at it. Every once in a while I'll start a prayer and it'll be like, Dear God. And I'll stop and then I'll say something else and he'll be like, are you about to pray? I'm like, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Now, you always trip over like, what do I start with? And I'm like, call him whatever you want. Like, call it whatever.
Yeah.
Call on whomever you wish to call on.
Right.
Like I said, if their intent is pure and your heart is genuine with it, it's gonna be felt and it's gonna be heard. At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I long for the day where you just break out and bust one real quick for the Thanksgiving dinner and we great. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah. Give me some time.
You good. I'm not putting no schedule on it, man. You walk your walk and I'll walk mine and then we'll walk together.
Yeah. I agree.
I appreciate you sharing and opening up for the people.
Of course. Transparency, right?
Transparency is key.
Don't keep it real.
Absolutely. So we just want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of What's Up Next. If you haven't already, go ahead and leave a review.
Leave a review.
Comment on something.
Comment on Instagram or Twitter. #WhatsAppWednesdays. Let us know how you feel about the podcast. We appreciate everybody who supported thus far.
Man, it's been super.
Overwhelming. Just
super,
overwhelming.
Like, yeah, that's the best word for overwhelming. It's like, wow. And people who really have taken the time to send feedback in. Trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed. It makes our days.
At all.
And we are just truly thankful and humbled that you have listened to us thus far. So we appreciate y'all. And is there anything you want to add, my love?
No. We love y'all for listening. We love y'all in general. So stay tuned for next week's episode.
Absolutely.